EU foreign ministers have imposed some of the toughest sanctions yet against Iran over the country's nuclear programme. The measures involve a ban on all new oil contracts with the country. Last night, British, French and US warships sailed through the Strait of Hormuz, which Tehran has threatened to close if its oil exports are disrupted. The strait is key to the movement of oil around the world, with a daily flow of almost 17 million barrels last year. It's more than 20% of all the oil traded worldwide. Well, my colleague from BBC Persia, Amir Paivar, interviewed the EU's foreign policy chief, Baroness Ashton, about the sanctions. He joins us live from Brussels and we can talk to him now. Amir, there have been various sanctions imposed on Iran before. Is it different this time?
Well, I think today's sanctions, together with those of United States against Iran's central bank, mark a major turning point in West's sanction policy against Iran. So far, there was only talk of smart sanctions, of targeted sanctions, designating specific people and entities. In contrast, an oil embargo is a blanket, indiscriminate sanction against a government and, in this case, the people, because oil is the source of revenue for Iranian government, but also it inevitably is the source of wealth for the Iranian people. But of course, most of the officials I've interviewed, including Baroness Ashton, they all say this is all to change the behavior of Iranian regime and to bring them back to the negotiation table. But I asked Baroness Ashton how genuinely hopeful she is for the Iranian negotiators to go back to the table.
I have sent messages through many interlocutors across the world, those who know very well the government of Iran and individuals within it, those who are able to send strong messages, and they send messages back to me. They tell me they like the way this process has been done and so on. I say to them, okay, you can come back to the table. I've left everything open, everything that we proposed, and I left the opportunity for the Iranian government to put forward its own ideas. This is not a one-way street, it's a two-way street. But for me, the proof that they are serious is that they respond to my letters, to my proposals and suggestions, and they come back and talk. So yes, I'm hopeful, but I want to see it happen soon.
Baroness Ashton, well, what is your assessment? Do you think that these sanctions will work?
For the sanctions to work, the Iranian government must feel an unprecedented level of pressure. But the experience shows that normally in such cases, not only the Iranian government, but also regimes in the same capacity would pass that burden to the people. When the value of Iranian rial nosedives, when the inflation in the country is skyrocketing, that's when the people on the street are inevitably paying for these sanctions. I think the key eventually remains in the hands of the Iranian business elite, the ones who will also feel the squeeze because of the diminished trade with the West and because of the decreasing oil revenues in the country. If they side with a group which right now argue for Iran that the nuclear program is too costly, I think that will be the tipping point where the regime maybe decides that this is too costly and they go back to the negotiation table.
Amir Paivar, thank you. And we are just getting some reaction through from the United States. Senior US Treasury officials saying that they're optimistic the EU will also sanction the Iranian State Bank, which has branches in Paris, and that they believe that Iran will have a hard time actually accessing the revenue that it does get from oil that it is able to sell.